Susan is practicing for a contest speech for the division contest next weekend. Susan Foster. Lessons learned. Susan Foster.
Take a coin from your pocket, flip it, and if it's heads, congratulations. You're one of the 50% of Americans who will not have dementia by the time you're 85. My mother-in-law lost that coin toss. Mary Ellen was born in the Deep South and grew up in the Great Depression. She trained as a nurse before penicillin was invented and served in the Army Corps of Nursing during World War II. After the war was over, she settled with her husband Bill in Florida. They had met at a church picnic, and the church remained a big part of their lives. Mary Ellen always had a very defined sense of what was right and what was wrong, and I'm reminded of this every time my husband and I make the bed. Mary Ellen had taught Doug how to make that perfect geometrical hospital corner. And somehow, my corners, they never pass muster. But Mary Ellen's sense of right and wrong was not confined to bed linen. When a black service member was denied entry to her church, she was outraged. It might have been the 60s, and it might have been the Deep South, but that was wrong. She wrote an impassioned letter to her pastor, and when there was no change, she took her family and left that congregation. That's one of the things that made my husband proud of his mother. Not that Doug and Mary Ellen always got along. Doug had strong opinions. Mary Ellen had strong opinions. This was great when they agreed. Not so good when they didn't. Still, when Mary Ellen and Bill needed to move from Florida to be near one of their kids, Doug was the one that stepped up to the plate, and they moved to Mesa, Arizona. Doug would go out and visit them 2, maybe 3 times a month, helping them out with various things. Mary Ellen really embraced growing old. She really loved that inner elder that she had. And this really made things difficult for Doug sometimes. He's not the most patient person, although he thinks he is. I can remember him walking his mother across the street, going at her pace. He was trying to hurry her before the oncoming traffic actually intersected him. And she kept saying, "Don't rush the elderly. Don't rush the elderly." After Bill died, we really saw some changes in Mary Ellen. Things that used to be easy for her got harder. She would talk to us on the phone and then forget to disconnect it and put it in the refrigerator, making it impossible for us to get a hold of her again. Doug went out there one time, and the entire apartment was filled with acrid smoke. You see, she had taken some soap slivers, wrapped them in a damp washcloth, and put them in the microwave to melt together. Having grown up in the Great Depression, she really knew how to pinch those pennies, and saving all this soap definitely added to her bottom line. But instead of putting that soap in for 30 seconds, she put it in for 30 minutes. And when the washcloth started burning, she just didn't know quite what to do about it. Doug got the fire out, got his mother out of the house. And we started thinking that perhaps living on her own was not the best thing for her. Luckily, this was one of the times when Doug and Mary Ellen agreed, and she moved into assisted living. Doug would go out and visit her 2, maybe 3 times a week, sitting with her and her lady friends playing Scrabble. The rule was a little different when he played with the ladies. Everyone got their tiles and tried their best, and Doug would rove around helping everybody with their words. But pretty soon, Scrabble got too difficult for Mary Ellen. She got frustrated. She couldn't put the letters together. She couldn't put the words together. So Doug would go out there and spend the time sitting with her, chatting when she was awake, doing Sudoku when she dozed off, learning that piece of patience that he kind of misses. As time went on, Mary Ellen spent more and more time sleeping. Doug would go out once a day, almost every day, and sit by her side. She didn't necessarily know his name anymore, but she always knew who he was. She always knew that he belonged to her, and she always knew that he loved her. When the end came, Mary Ellen was in hospice care, and true to nature, you don't rush the elderly. For 9 days, we went and sat by her side, Doug doing Sudoku, me knitting an entire sweater. The hospice staff told us, you don't have to be out here every day. It's okay. But honestly, what better use of our time was there than to be there by her side in this last step of her journey? You see, our parents teach us, not just when we're little. They don't just teach us how to fold bed corners. They teach us when we're young and they take care of us, and then when they're old and we take care of them. That is the time that some of the most profound lessons